Well, my daughter came home and said she's got a check engine light on in our 2007 Honda Accord. Let's plug in the Innova 5610 and see if we can get it figured out. Okay, so we've got the P0171 System 2 Lean, Bank 1. P0171 most of the time is going to be a vacuum leak, but it could be fuel related or fuel delivery related. It could be a plugged fuel injector, a weak fuel pump. Now, this could also be a problem with the oxygen sensors. In this case, we have two. One is before the catalytic converter, one is after. These are also called air-fuel ratio sensors. And that is their job. They work in conjunction with the computer and the mass airflow sensor to determine the proper mixture for the engine, just to make sure it's running as efficiently as possible. And sometimes that mass airflow sensor will get dirty and give a bad reading as well. Now, the car's computer will determine the mixture based on the information from these sensors. And so if one of these sensors is bad or giving a bad reading or even just dirty, it can also cause this lean condition. I'm going to probably lean towards vacuum leak, but let's go ahead and pop the hood and do a quick visual and see if there's anything that we can find. Well, there's your problem. Let me bring you in here. Something's wrong or missing right here. That doesn't get any more obvious than that. So when you tell your kids to make sure you check the oil, you know, I guess I haven't said make sure you put the oil cap back on and make sure you put the dipstick back in correctly as well. So we've got a lost oil cap. Now that is definitely going to create a P0171 lean condition because that does create a vacuum leak. You know, I'm always on my kids to check the oil and make sure that you're checking it every time you get gas, and so I'm happy that they're doing that, but forgetting to put that oil cap on, I guess it's a mistake we've all made once. So I'll definitely talk to my daughter about this one, but very happy that she is trying to at least get in here and check the oil. But that's definitely going to be our issue. Now, a lot of times on the P0171, that's going to be an issue with your mass airflow sensor or even with the intake here. A lot of times these intake tubes will crack, and that allows unmetered air into the intake past the mass airflow sensor. Anytime that air can get in through here or via a vacuum leak, which is unmetered because it's getting in past the mass airflow sensor, the computer doesn't like that, and it's not going to really know how to measure that in the computer. It's going to get different readings from that oxygen sensor. That's a vacuum leak right there. Now, first of all, missing an oil cap like that is going to cause you to lose oil. I am very surprised we don't have more than a couple drops around here. There's some splatter of oil up underneath. Probably only a day or two. I think I remember my kid was going to get gas and I said, make sure you check the oil. Well, I guess that's a pretty quick and easy fix. I thought for sure when I saw the P0171, we would have an issue either with the mass airflow sensor or even with this tube right here. A lot of times these intake tubes will crack right usually here at one of these pleats or one of these folds. And that's actually extremely common on these Hondas and even on Toyotas. A lot of times these will just get brittle and crack. Looks like that one is fine. Again, we already found our issue here, so I'm just kind of talking right now, but here's your mass airflow sensor. A lot of times you'll need to clean that. Sometimes that will not be metering the air coming through properly. I do have a video on that. I'll put a link to that in the description for you. And sometimes even right here, your intake gasket, sometimes you can get leaks through here. I was actually thinking maybe we'd have to hook up the smoke machine and test this, but found our problem instantly. Now, they're not usually this easy. It's just nice to be able to check this off, and I'll just go ahead and order up a replacement oil cap for this. This is the 2.4 liter. Shouldn't be expensive to get a replacement cap. I mean, I guess I can search around here and see if I can find it, but it's probably long gone or melting on the exhaust, but I don't see it down there. Oh, there it is. There's the oil cap. Oh, we got lucky. Didn't have to order one. Let's clear the code now and take it for a quick test drive, make sure everything else looks good. Before I start the engine, I'm going to check the oil too, since this was off, and see if we lost much. Yeah, it's down a little bit, about half quart. Let's go ahead and top that off real quick, and then we'll start this up. Just about a half a quart should do it. That looks good, maybe just a hair over. Actually, I think she did tell me that the oil life was at a pretty low percentage, so this one probably does need to be changed. I'll do that next. I'm going to start it up and see how it sounds, make sure everything looks good. I don't hear any hissing or anything like that. A lot of times you can hear a vacuum leak via some hissing. And you know, with running this with the cap off, let's just see what that sounds like. I mean, you would think my kid would have noticed that. You know, that's a very, very loud sound and very different than normal, but that's all right. You know, kids are learning still, so not a big deal, but you definitely would have noticed a difference in the sound. Even if the dipstick is part way out, it can cause that same exact code. Not very loud with the dipstick. You definitely should have heard that. She should have noticed with the cap out that it was making a sound or making some different noise. You know, kids a lot of times have the radio going pretty loud and don't always notice these things, but happy that she did at least tell me that the check engine light came on, so we could get this looked at and fixed, and luckily we found that down below, so no parts required. Let's just reset that and go for a quick test drive. We've got our P0171 stored. Let's go ahead and hit erase. Erase was successful. Awesome. You can also see right there, no more check engine light on the dash, and this is rescanning right now. No powertrain DTCs or freeze frame data presently stored in the computer. That's perfect. Well, let's go for a quick test drive and make sure that we got everything sorted out. I'm pretty sure we did, but let's just double check. Go for a little drive, make sure that that doesn't come back on. We still have our little wrench light on the dash because I do need to change the oil and reset that. I've got a video on how to reset that as well if you need that. This thing still has some pretty good pickup for a 2007. As soon as that VTEC kicks in. Well, that's a nice little test drive and no check engine lights on the dash. Now let's just shut it off and turn the ignition back on and do another quick scan here. No powertrain DTCs or freeze frame data presently stored in the vehicle's computer. Check engine light is off and this thing is good to go. I'll keep an eye on it for the next few days just to make sure that that light doesn't come back on, and I'll just make sure that my daughter takes a look at that. Of course, we're gonna have a little talk on making sure that you put the cap back on after you check the oil. I'm happy that they're learning, happy that they're checking the oil. When you got your kids in these older cars, that's just one of the things that they're gonna have to learn, how to check that oil and of course, how to put that cap back on. I do wanna say I'm very happy that they let me know that there was another light that came on the dash, in addition to the little tool, the check engine light. But that's it. I'm gonna call this one done. I do need to change the oil, but I'm not gonna film that, but definitely time to get that done. Oil life is down to 15%, and that's why our little wrench is on, and I'll double check the mileage from the last time I did it, but I'm sure that it's time. So thanks again to the Innova 5610 for coming in very handy. Without a scan tool like this, it's really hard to diagnose when a check engine light comes on, but in this case, of course, we were lucky enough. As soon as I popped the hood, I saw that, and real easy fix. I hope you like the video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you don't mind. That does help me out. I'll get a link in the description where you can pick up this exact same scan tool as well. Thanks so much for watching, and good luck.